Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be sharing with you guys my birth and labor story. I know I had said I was going to record it, but in that moment none of us thought about recording. Things just didn't go as what we expected them to go. So we didn't record. I did get some pictures and I will include some in here. So anyways, my estimated due date was on June 10th, 2017. I ended up getting induced on June 9th, 2017. The reason for that, if you have seen my previous pregnancy videos, was I was having kind of a hardish pregnancy. Not like hard, but I was like super uncomfortable and kind of in pain. I had been experiencing hip pain and varicose veins down in the pubic area, so I was just really uncomfortable. By 30 weeks I was uncomfortable, and now by 39 weeks super uncomfortable. So my OB gave me the option of inducing me at 39 weeks, but with my first I was induced, and I've heard that contractions when you're induced are a little more painful than when you go in naturally. So I did not want to get induced. I just wanted to go in natural and see how it feels, see if there's a difference. So I declined that. He did strip my membranes since I was 37 weeks. So I got my membranes stripped 3 times, and that didn't help. I only got dilated to a 2 centimeter and was 50% effaced. I didn't progress from there. So on my 39-week appointment, he reminded me again if I wanted to get induced, and I said no, and that was on a Tuesday. So he told me think about it, call him if I did want to get induced. So me and my husband talked about it, and we decided to just get induced. So they set up my induction for June 9th. So I went into the hospital at 5. That's when they had a room for me. I was already in the room and connected and on Pitocin by 6. So the nurses that I had 3 different nurses that whole time I was in labor. So the nurse that I had, the second nurse, the first nurses connected me, and then their shift was off because they were off at 6. The second nurse that I had, she was like, you know what, you're a second time mom, piece of cake, you'll be out by midnight, you'll have your baby by midnight. So I was like super excited, and I was like, yes, you know, I was excited to not be in pain for so long and blah blah blah, but that didn't happen. So at 6 I was started on Pitocin. My contractions weren't bad though, they literally felt like cramps. So as the nurse came to check for dilation, I stayed at a 2 until 8. They had told me they were going to break my water at 10, but when she came in at 8 and I was still not dilated, she decided to call my OB. And my OB at that point decided to break my water at 8 instead of waiting until 10. So OB came in, broke my water, and as soon as she broke my water, the contractions started coming. And they were coming strong. So they were like, yes, now that your contractions are stronger, you for sure will dilate, and we for sure will have a baby by midnight. So as the hours passed, they came in to check for dilation, still a 2. By midnight, I was still a 2. The nurse that was on shift from 6 to 6 in the morning, so the second nurse, she really wanted me to get an intrauterine device to check like how strong your contractions are, but I was like, yeah, no, I'm already uncomfortable. I am not gonna get something up there to make it more uncomfortable. And she kept insisting, and I was like, no, if it's not gonna help me dilate, then there's no point. So I declined that. By midnight I was still a 2 and still in pain. So throughout that whole night I was having contractions every so often and still no dilation. By 6 in the morning, when that nurse was off, I was still a 2. She checked me, I was still a 2. So there was a shift change. Then my third nurse came at 6, and she asked me if I wanted anything. And by that point I was super tired, super frustrated, stressed, discouraged, because every time that they come in to check your dilation, you would expect to be dilated, and you know, and when they come in and check you and tell you, sorry, you're still this, no progression, still a 2, still a 2 for 12 hours. You're kind of like stressed, frustrated. So by 6 in the morning, I was done. I was in pain all night. I didn't sleep. I was stressed. I was crying because there was no dilation. So I finally caved into getting the epidural, even though I was really planning on going natural. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I got the epidural at 6 in the morning. The anesthesiologist that gave me my epidural was wonderful. I don't know why I was so scared of getting an epidural, because it wasn't bad at all. Everyone at the hospital though, the nurses were saying that he's the best one. So I'm really glad if it's true that he was there when I was there. So I got my epidural at 6 a.m. And for those of you who don't know, when you do get an epidural, you get a catheter inside you. Since you're numb and you can't stand up, you have to pee from somewhere, so you get a catheter. I already knew that, so that's another reason why I did not want to get an epidural, and I knew that only because I work in the healthcare. So you get a catheter. It's uncomfortable, but you don't feel it. If you didn't have an epidural, then it would be super uncomfortable. So you get a catheter and you can't move, and you're super numb. You don't feel anything. You can't turn, you can't move, because you don't feel anything. So I hated that, but I did like that I was able to relax for at least a couple of hours. Even though my epidural didn't last long, it like wore off super quick. And you know how they tell you you can push a button to get more medication in? I pushed it twice through 6 hours that I was still in labor after getting the epidural, and by the time I was pushing, I felt every contraction and everything. So it didn't really help. It helped for like an hour or two, and then it wore off. But that's fine. It at least helped me relax for a little. So at 6, my third nurse came in, and she was super nice. She was the best out of all of them and really helpful. So she came in and she was like, you know what, how about we try this peanut ball? Sometimes having your legs like spread out helps you dilate. So I was like, okay, you know what, that's fine. And she also recommended putting the intrauterine device to check for contractions, and since I was on that epidural, I was like, you know what, that's fine, put it in. And the contractions were good. They were how they should have been, so they didn't know why I wasn't dilating. But she put the peanut ball, that's what she called it. It was like a big ball, the shape like as an 8, but she called it a peanut ball. So she put that in between my legs, and she kept checking me every so often. So she kept checking me every hour, and I dilated to a 3 within like an hour. My OB came in and she was like, if we don't dilate any more, we are just gonna have to do a C-section. So I was already stressed and frustrated enough. When she told me that, I just bawled, because I did not want to get a C-section. Like, my mind, mentally, I was not prepared for a C-section, you know? So my mom was there with me, and she was helping me relax. My husband was there too, but he was like taking care of my son. So I was just stressed. I literally did not know what to do anymore. And so the hours went by. Every hour she came to check on me, and I was good. I kept dilating and dilating and dilating. By 11, I was a 9, and by 12, I was a 10. So she called my OB, the one that was on call, and I'm really glad I had him. He was amazing also. He came in and he was like, are you ready to push? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. By then I was already feeling contractions and everything, so I only had to push 3 10-second, I don't know how to explain it. You know how you have to push 3 times for 10 seconds? Well, I pushed 3 of those sets, and my son was out. I was in labor for 19 hours, so it was not faster for me being a second-time mom, which is fine because my son was born healthy and everything's okay. But yeah, so I was in labor for 19 hours, and he was born at 12:59 p.m. He weighed 8 pounds 5 ounces, and he was 21.5 inches long. His name is Davian Ray, for those of you who are interested. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or any comments, don't be shy, comment down below and I'll answer any of your questions. I will include some of the pictures that I took during labor, or my mom or my husband took during labor, here in this video. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye.